Hello students, good morning all of you. Once again, a warm welcome to the Computer Networks online session. So this is the lecture number 3, video lecture 3. So in the past two sessions, we successfully completed the introduction part of computer networks. So along with that, we discussed some concepts in computer networks. Those are basics of computer networks. So what is node, work group, network, host, workstation, and we discussed some advantages of networking, and we covered the types of connections and types of communications, and the main one of the important area in the unit number 1, that is network topologies. So these are the topics we successfully completed in the last two lectures. Now in this lecture we mainly focus on the what are the different networking connecting environments. Okay, in that first we want to discuss the local area network, that is LAN. Okay, right. There are three different networking areas are there. One is LAN, second one is MAN, Metropolitan Area Network. Yeah, third one is WAN, Wide Area Network. So what is the use of LAN and what is meant by LAN? That what we covered here. So the networks used to interconnect computers in a single room. So within a building or buildings or on one site are called a local area network. For example, in our college, so totally more than 300 systems are available. So these systems are connected to one particular network. So that particular network is called it as local area network. So here a network used to interconnect computers in a single room or rooms within a building or buildings on one site. So one room in a building or many rooms in a building or many buildings in one site, so are called local area network, LAN. So LAN transmits data with a speed of several megabytes per second. So the transmission medium is normally coaxial cables we are using. I think you guys all know about the LAN cables. So those cables are the coaxial cables. The LAN links computers in the same area of the purpose of sharing information. So usually LAN links computers within a limited geographical area because they must be connected by a cable, which is quite expensive. So a cable is needed for all the system connections. I think you guys all are observed in our laboratories and our department in your classrooms. There a LAN connection is available to every system. So that particular LAN cable is called it as here. Those cable is a coaxial cable. So it's a bit expensive process to use cable to all the to cover all the area. So the LAN is limited to some certain amount of area. So usually LAN links computers with a limited geographical area. That's what they said. So because they must connected by a cable, the people working in LAN get more capabilities in data processing, work processing, and other information exchange compared to standalone computers. So the LANs are privately owned networks within a single building or campus of up to few kilometers in size. So maximum, most probably, the range of LAN is at 1 kilometer. So in the range of 1 kilometer, we can use you can connect all the devices by using LAN cable. So LANs are distinguished based on their size, their transmission technology, their topology. So LANs are restricted in size. So that's what we discussed in the earlier. So a limited amount of area only we can connect by using LANs. Why? Because LANs are depending by using cables. So it's a big expensive process to use cables to the wider area. So we can restrict the area for the LANs. So most probably it belongs to less than 1 kilometer. So one certain area, that means one campus, or one room, so many rooms in a building, so many buildings in a campus, so which will be connected by LANs. So if it is more than a kilometer and distance, it's a bit difficult task to connect in LANs by using LANs. uh, to use cables is a big difficult task there. So LANs are restricted in size, and LANs use a transmission technology consisting of a single cable to which all missions are attached, like telephone company lines once used in rural areas. So which is slight similar. The LANs are slight similar to the cables which are using in the telephone lines. I think you guys all know about the telephone cables in your rural areas. So LANs run at speeds of 10 to 100 Mbps, have low delay and make very few errors. So notice point, the LANs runs at the speed of 10 to 100 Mbps, so have low delay and make very few errors. The topologies for the LAN local area network is bus and ring topologies are the preferable for the LAN connections. So local area networks using the structure of either bus or ring topology. And second one is the metropolitan area networks. So in the previous LANs we discussed, it's a limited amount of area we covered by using LANs. If it is the more than the limited area, so for example, some amount of kilometers we have to connect, then this LAN is not possible. So we are using there a metropolitan area networks, MAN. So MAN is basically a bigger version of a LAN. MAN is basically a bigger version of a LAN and normally uses a similar technology. So both the technologies are using in LAN and MAN are similar, but the area covered is different. So LAN covered a little bit of area, but a MAN covered so more area when compared with LAN. But the technologies what we used there is for both LAN and MAN are similar. So it might cover a group of nearby offices, maybe either private or public. So it may cover a group of nearby offices. So in LAN, we discussed within a space, so multiple buildings. But a MAN may cover group of nearby offices also. A MAN just has one or two cables and does not have any switching elements. Does not have any switching elements. The main reason for even distinguishing MANs is that a standard has been adopted, and this standard is now begin implemented. It is called DQDB, Distributed Queue Dual Bus. Distributed Queue Dual Bus, that is numbering is 802.6. We preferably used in metropolitan area networks. So the DQDB consisting of two unidirectional buses to which all computers are connected. Each bus has head end. So a device that initiates transmission actively. The key aspects of MAN is a broadcast medium to which all computers are attached. So multiple devices are connecting here. This is the directional flow of bus. So bus A direction flow and bus B directional flow. So it is the unidirectional buses we preferred here in the DQDB. That is the MANs. Coming to the WAN, wide area networks. So wide area networks spans a large geographical area after a country or so WAN spans a large geographical area, often a country or a continent. From one area to other area, that means one state to another state and one country to another country, we will communicating by using these wide area networks. It contains collection of missions for running user applications calls hosts or end users. So the hosts are connected by communication subnet or subnet. So the subnet carries messages from host to host. So here the different subnets are there in this wide area networks. From communication aspect, subnet application aspect is the host. For communication aspect, we prefer subnet. For application aspect, we use hosts. So in WAN, the subnet consists of two distinct components: transmission lines and switching elements. So here we're using transmission lines and the switching elements. These transmission lines are circuits or channels. So uh, the long way data transmission is possible by using wide area network. Uh, often countries and the continents. So switching elements are specialized computers used to connect two or more transmission lines. They are called routers. So here the routers plays the major role in the wide area network. Each host is connected to LAN on which a router is present, or in some cases host can be connected directly connected to router. So the collection of communication lines and routers from the subnet. So simply within a kilometer range we prefer LANs. So within 10 more than within a 10-kilometer range we preferred MAN, and more than that we preferred WAN. So LAN, depending upon the topology of LAN is preferred in the topology of bus and ring, and MAN is slight similar to the WAN, but so is the normally similar to the LAN, but here we use a DQDB, distributed queue dual bus structure with the bands. And coming to the wide area networks, between the country to country communication, transmitting lines, circuits, channels, so we can using for data transmission in wide area networks. The collection of communication lines and routers from the subnet. So in this way, sending host, receiving host, these are the routers and subnets. So as the name suggests, router. So router is used to identifying the route. So by the router, data is transmitted. So, but the major task performed here is it has to identify the shortest path. So here, so the data packet has to be transmitted in the shortest way. If two routers do not share a cable or not wish to communicate, they must do this indirectly via other router. So when the packet is sent from the router to another via one or more intermediate routers. So a router sends from one router to another router via one or more intermediate routers. Intermediate means temporary routers. So some temporary routers are arranged. So the packet is received at each router and stores until required output line is free and then forwarded. So this is the forward and packet switching subnets. So sending process, receiving process. In between is the subnet, the total net, and this one is subnet. In subnet, so these are the packets. Packet means data. So that what we discussed in the next concept. What is a packet, and which layer converts the data into the valid packets? That what we discussed in the reference models. Now a packet is transmitted from the sender to the receiver via subnet. Subnet consisting of routers. So router C makes a choice to forward packets to E and not D. Correct? These are the three different areas: local area network, metropolitan area network, and wide area network. Simply LAN is a shorter size, uh, simply less than a kilometer we preferred. From kilometer to a 10 kilometers range, we preferred MAN's metropolitan area networks. From city to city or from some other areas, the data transmission is done by using WAN, wide area network. And next one is the network software. So network software is now highly structured. So what are the different areas here in the network software is protocol hierarchies, design issues of the layers, connection oriented and connectionless services, service primitives, the ships of services to protocols. These are the concepts we have to cover here in the network software. So there's the two areas in the network. One is network hardware, second one is network software. So now we discussed about the network software, and it is highly structured. So protocols is needed. There's some design issues are there in the layers, and connection oriented and connectionless services. So how the network is established? I think you guys all know there's there's a basics of two ways are there how a network is established, either by using wide connection or less wireless connection. How two devices are communicating. They can communicating by using either wired connection or by wireless connection. So protocol hierarchies. I think we all discussed about. We already discussed about the protocol. So what is meant by protocol? Right. A protocol is a set of rules. So to reduce the design complexity, most networks are organized as a series of layers or levels, each one built upon the one below it. So what is the main role of these layered architecture is, so everyone has to follow same rules. For example, if I have a printer, so I'm connecting it to my laptop and it is working. So if I am taking my laptop to some other country, if it is connecting to another printer, is there any possibility of discommunication? Uh, that will be not happen there. Automatically, it is connected to that particular printer also. Why? Because a networking has the same rules wherever it is. So that is same protocols it has to follow. Automatically, same rules it has to follow. So the number of layers, name of each layer, content of each layer, and the function of each layer different from the network to network. So layer n on one mission carries to a convention with layer n on another mission. So that's what we discuss in next topic, between each pair of adjacent layers, what happened there. So that is the, this is the protocol hierarchies. So layers, layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, layer 5. So layer 5 protocol, layer 4 protocols, layer 3 protocols, layer 2 protocols. So automatically, whenever the data moving to the one layer to the another layer, there the protocols are changed. Changed means they have to work in whatever they designed for. So why that protocols are designed, depending upon that those protocols are working. So the protocols there in level 5 have the some certain work. The protocols there in layer 4 has some certain work, and protocols there in layer 3 perform some certain work. Likewise, the protocols there in layer 2 some performs some certain works. Like that is the protocol hierarchy. So these are the some designing issues for the layers. So addressing each layer needs a mechanism for identifying sender and receivers. The rules of data transfer. That means the rules of data transfer. I think we all covered this in the lecture number 1. Simplex, half duplex, and full duplex, and error control and flow control. So error correction and detection and the flow control. The communication channels must preserve the order of messages sent on them. So disassembling, transmitting, and then reassembling. So the multiplexing inconvenient or expensive. Right, the routing, all these we have to discuss. These are the some design issues. So routing, multiplexing, flow control, error control, addressing, all these are the some designing issues for the layers. So these are the connection oriented and connectionless services. So how the data has to be transmitted, the connection oriented. So here in the connection oriented is modeled after the telephone system. So talk to someone, you pick up the phone, dial the number, talk, and then hang up. So there a connection is required between, for example, you guys want to communicating with your friend. You guys are dialed your friend number. Automatically, if your friend picked up, a connection path is establishing between you and your friend. Then you can transmit your data means voice or message, whatever it may be. You can transmit your data. After the after the completion of communication, your friend hangs up the phone. So this is the best example for connection oriented service. A connection is required to transmit data. So to talk to someone, you pick up the phone, dial the number, talk, and then hang up. To use a connection oriented network service, the service user first establish a connection, uses the connection, and then release the connection. So first you dial means you set up the connection. So he accepts means, so connection is established. So after the transmission, so after the completion of data transfer, again the setup is released. So sends a request. After the setup, data transfer. After the completion of data transfer, setup is releases. That is the connection oriented process here in the networking environment. The best example is telephone dialing calls is the best example for connection oriented service. Coming to the connectionless service is the modeled after postal system. So each message carries the full destination address and each one routed through the system independent of all the routers. When two messages sent to the same destination, the first one sent will be first one to arrive. If first one is delayed, the second one arrived first. So with connection oriented service, this is not possible. So at a time, so the best example for these connection oriented is telephone system. The best example for the connectionless is a postcard. So someone posted postcard at 9 a.m. and another one posted the postcard at 9:15 a.m. So there is no guarantee those who posted at 9 a.m. reached first. Why? Because if it is delayed, the next one 9:15 a.m. postcard is delivered, but which is not possible in the connection oriented. So in connection oriented, those who set up the path first, they can transmit the data first. So after he release the setup only, the second one will communicate. Likewise, you guys are communicating with your friend. You make a call on 9. So you both are talking. You both are communicating up to 9:15. Your another friend may call to your friend at 9:10 a.m. But it is not possible to deliver his data. Why? Because user 1 and user 2 are in the communication. If user 3 wants to communicate with user 2, which is not possible. But here in the connectionless system, which data packet has to reach its destination first is not identified. Why? Because if first card is delayed, automatically second card reaches first. That is the difference between connection oriented and connectionless services. The best example for connection oriented is telephone system. The best example for the connectionless services is postal system. So someone posted letter at 7:4:21 and another one posted letter at 8:4:21. But there is no guarantee those who posted 7:4:21 reached destination first, but which is not happened there in connection oriented. Those who set up the path first, they can transmit the data first. That is the difference between connection oriented and connectionless. These are the service primitives. So what happened here? Listen. So its meaning is block waiting for an incoming connection. Connect means establishing a connection with a waiting peer. Receive means block waiting for an incoming message. Send means send a message to the peer. Disconnect means terminate a connection. So if you want to communicate in the connection oriented service, so these are the required things. Listen, connect, receive, send. After the completion of data transmission, disconnect. These 5 service primitives for implementing a simple connection oriented service. Please note it down these primitives. These are very much required for the connection oriented service. So if you have to set up a path, why we have to set up a path? So if you have to transmit the data in the connection oriented service, these are the primitives are required. If you guys are using the connection less oriented service, there is no problem with that. So if you transmit the data by using connection oriented service, so first establishing the path is the needed thing. So after establishing the path means setup, first you have to establish the setup. If setup is established, you can transmit the data. So after the data is reached to the destination, then a disconnection, that means connection terminated. So these are the primitives: listen, connect, receive, send, and disconnect. These 5 service primitives are implementing in a simple connection oriented service. So the service to protocols relationship. So the relationship between a service and a protocol. A service is a set of primitives that a layer provides the layer above it. So a protocol is a set of rules governing the format and meaning of the frames, packets, messages, and are exchanged by the peer entities within the layer. So this one, layer K, layer K, service provided by the layer. A protocol is in between these two layers. Service to protocols relationship. So every service must depending on the protocol. Okay, this is one of the very important concept in the computer networks. That is OSI reference model that we discuss in the next class. Why? Because a complete session is required to discuss this OSI reference model, which is the heart of computer networks. So we will discuss it in a later class. Just we recall what we discussed in this session. So we discussed about the LAN, local area network, metropolitan area network, wide area network, LAN, MAN, and WAN. Wide area networks. These are network softwares, protocol hierarchies, design issues, connection-oriented and connectionless services, service primitives, and the relationships of services to the protocols. So the protocol hierarchies, this one, protocol hierarchy. So you can easily understand this after the completion of OSI reference model, no problem. Is there any confusion with this protocol hierarchy? Wait for the next lecture. So after completion of OSI reference model, you can easily identify what happened there in layers and what is the need of protocols between the layers. So no problem with this. If you have any queries in this, so wait for the next video. So these are some designing issues. So please note it down, the design issues: addressing, error control, flow control, multiplexing, and routing. So these error control, flow control, multiplexing, and routing are came in the next coming units. So we discuss it there completely. So routing protocols and routing algorithms and multiplex, how the multiplex, what is meant by multiplexing, and what are the different multiplexing techniques, and how we have apply the error control and flow control methods. That's what we discussed in the unit 2 and 3. So no problem with this. So but note it down, the design issues of the layers: addressing, error control, flow control, multiplexing, and routing. So this is one of the very one more important area here in the network. So connection oriented and connectionless services. So the best example for connection oriented service is telephone system, and the best example for connectionless is postal system. So in the connection oriented method, so setup connection is needed. So for that setup connection, so these are some primitives are needed: listen, connect, receive, send, and disconnect. So these are the service to protocol relationship. Okay, thank you very much.